Hello, happy holidays, everyone. I hope you are all having a great holiday season, a great week. It's only, what, 5 days? 5 days until Christmas. If you celebrate, take this time with your family to kind of get a break from the world, drink and be merry and all of that. But before we break for the holidays, we have some things to discuss, okay? I don't know if you've been under a rock. I don't know if, maybe you're just not, tuned in. It's crazy out there. Maybe you were just waiting for me. But we have several things to discuss. So tonight, we're going to get into the Senate staff sex tape. Trump being disqualified. Breaking news just happened, yesterday? Trump being disqualified from the Colorado primary election ballot. We got to talk about Rudy Giuliani, Kevin McCarthy, just putting his formal resignation. It's just a lot going on, okay? It's a lot going on. And that's not even including Israel and Gaza, which I'm actually going to save because, I always want to deal with topics with esteem, thoroughness, and make sure I have all of my ducks in a row. But let's start with the Senate staff sex tape, okay? So if you've been under a rock, some genius senator, decided to tape himself having sex with some man, okay? Now, I'm going to keep it a buck, okay? We're going to read it and then I'm going to go in. We're going to give background, okay? So, here's what happened. And this is coming from Time Magazine. Capitol Hill was rocked over the weekend by the circulation of an explicit video of two men apparently having sex in a congressional hearing room. First of all, I'll just read, because, bitch, I'm getting ready to go in. I'll just read. The 8-second pornographic clip, first posted Friday evening by right-wing media website The Daily Caller, was reportedly leaked from a private group chat for gay men in politics. The report, which did not name the participants and blurred a face that appeared in the video, claimed it was a congressional staffer in the sex tape and identified the setting as room 216 in the Hart Senate office building, okay? So it happened there. The news immediately gained traction in conservative media, while details remained scant. Outlets including the New York Post and Washington Examiner identified the staffer as Aiden Mace Chorovsky. I know I'm butchering his name. A legislative aide for who? Senator Ben Cardin from Maryland. Why did it have to be my home state? For those of you who don't know, I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. Baltimore. I'm annoyed. Why? You could have been from any other state. Why Maryland? Okay. In a statement to Politico on Friday night, Cardin's office said Aiden Mace Chorovsky is no longer employed by the U.S. Senate. We will have no further comment on this personal matter. Cardin, who has spent nearly 4 decades in Congress, which, no shade, if you from Maryland, any part of Maryland, you know that name Ben Cardin. He's been around since, forever, before I was born, bitch. Now, he is announcing his plans to retire in May. So, at least, I don't think his retirement, Ben Cardin's retirement, is because of this sex tape. I think that was already a thing because he's been in office for forever. But, which they're having a heated election right now for him. Not election, but, campaign. And, so I don't think this has anything to do with it, so I'm not going to go that far. But I do think it's a bad way for him to go out after 40 years of service to have this happen. But anyway, now, Mace Chorovsky, who is believed to be age 24 and has not responded to a request for comment from Time, posted on LinkedIn on Saturday. This has been a difficult time for me as I've been attacked for who I love to pursue a political agenda. While some of my actions in the past have shown poor judgment, I love my job and would never disrespect my workplace. Any attempts to characterize my actions otherwise are fabricated, and I will be exploring what legal options are available to me in these manners. Okay. So, first off, bitch, that's bullshit. First off, that's bullshit. Okay. Now, you are 24, so you're a baby. However, you work in the Senate, niece, and you should know better. Okay. I'm all about, now, of course, because it was a gay sex act, of course it's going to be, you know, more heat behind it because this is America. We know what it gives. So as a gay person, I expect that. But I'm also going to police here. You got to police your own people if you're going to call other people out. This was unfucking acceptable, bitch. You tried it, okay? You fucking tried it, okay? First of all, why would you even take yourself in the Senate? Like, why? And then he had on a jock strap while he was doing it, which, you know, that's kind of like a common thing, you know, in the community. We love those. But here's the thing, you know, persecuted for who I love. If it was a straight couple or straight people doing this, it would still have the same guffaw. Okay, like it would not be a difference. Now, granted, we know, you know, how, you know, gays are looked at and, you know, how by certain people and things like that. I'll give you that. But in this instance, that ain't got, to me, personally, that ain't got shit to do with shit. Okay? So the whole who I love shit, bitch, you taking that power away from the people who really do experience discrimination for who they love. This is not one of them times, niece. You tried it and you found the fuck out. Now, what was busy about this? So it's several things I look at. First of all, y'all nasty. Okay? Now, I'm not saying I don't have, you know, naughty talk with my friends about certain things. But, niece, politics are the Hunger Games. You're sharing this video in a group chat, niece, with other not even Republican, but government gays, okay, who are all trying to move up the ladder, who are all trying to jockey for position, and you put that in the group chat? Really? With you in the center room? Now, if you was just fucking in the Motel 6 or, you know, Candlewood Inn and Suites, then, bitch, that would be a different story. Nobody would give a fuck. Then I'll be like, oh, my God, they tried him. But, bitch, in the Senate room? Really? That's what we doing? Then, George Santos had the nerve to chime in. Now, one thing I will say is that George Santos did kind of read him a little bit, even though he's a fucking liar. So you got to take this with a grain of salt. But George Santos responded to his statement on Twitter, well, formerly known as Twitter X. Having sex in a United States government building and filming it is the reason you got heat. You being gay and having sex, nobody gives a rat's ass. Now, even the broke clock is right 2 times a day. He ain't lying. He lied about a lot of shit, but this ain't one of them, okay? I gagged. So then the plot thickens, bitch. So you're asking yourself, why did this even get out? Because I'm sure they probably doing all kinds of, sharing all kinds of nasty shit in their group chat, but I bet you they ain't no more. Now, allegedly, where is it at? So this is what they believe caused the tape to be leaked, okay? So Max Miller, who is a representative from Ohio, told the Daily Caller that Mace Chorovsky had accosted him earlier in the week shouting "Free Palestine" while Miller was being interviewed by NBC. Mace Chorovsky denied that ever happen. So, bitch, I firmly believe we are in a McCarthy era. We are in a time where, you know, even me doing these videos, bitch, is going to be, you know, an issue. Well, we might have to find some kind of different way to do this because, you know, it's getting thick out here. You got to be careful. When you come for people, when you call them out, when you do things, you got to make sure that you ain't got no skeletons in the closet. You got to make sure that you ain't got no shit left in the toilet and that you flushed and sprayed. Because it will come back to haunt you. Now, he's gagging. He is gagging. Like, and not the way he wants to. This is a gag. Okay? I play stupid games, win stupid prizes. But he's 24 years old. He'll bounce back. He'll get another job. Will it be a federal government? No. Maybe the post office. But it ain't going to be nothing prestige like he had. That's just a fucking fact. Okay? He ain't going to be working for nobody in the state of Maryland at all because they probably looking at him like, bitch, you fucked up, you know, car and last walk. So he can hang it up, flat screen. You might as well just go ahead and apply for, you know, one of these corporate, you know, jobs. Now, one last thing before we move on. What I find interesting is that we don't know who the other person was that he was having sex with. At least I couldn't find it. Now, I could be wrong. Y'all tell me in the comments. But I find it odd that we do not know who that other person is. And I'm like, is this other person? Well, first of all, this other person isn't on camera at all whatsoever. So you could only speculate. And unless, you know, Aiden tells on him or snitches, that would be the only other thing, which I don't think he's going to do at this point. But I would love to know, is it some just random guy that he, you know, sees? Is it another Senate staffer? Is it a senator, bitch? That's what I want to know. But anyway, dingbat, you done got yourself fired and you're infamous. You're not even really infamous because this was on the news, but then it wasn't. So, whatever. Anyway, moving on. So, the Donald, Captain Crunch. He got disqualified from the Colorado state primary election. He is not going to, well, I'm not going to say disqualified. Let me back that truck up. He is not going to be on the primary ballot. Okay, primary ballot. Okay. So, Colorado's, and this is coming from the New York Times, Colorado's top court ruled on Tuesday that former President Donald J. Trump is disqualified from holding office again because he engaged in insurrection with his actions leading up to the January 6th storming of the Capitol. An explosive ruling that is likely to put the basic contours of the 2024 election in the hands of the U.S. Supreme Court, which Trump has stacked because he got most of those justices elected. So how do you think this is going to turn out? The Colorado Supreme Court was the first in the nation to find that Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which disqualifies people who engage in insurrection against the Constitution after taking an oath to support it, applies to Mr. Trump, an argument that his opponents have been making around the country. The ruling directs the Colorado Secretary of State to exclude Mr. Trump's name from the state's Republican primary ballot. It does not address the general election. Now, here's my take on this. First of all, while I do admire Colorado's sentiments, sometimes, and I do not think that they're wrong. I do not think that they're wrong. I want to be clear about that. But sometimes you got to read the fucking room. The way, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, if this man was going to be removed from ballots or disqualified from being able to run and all of that, this shit should have been taken care of in 2020, 2021. Maybe even early 2022. But to do this now as we're closing in on the end of primary campaigning season for everyone, for both Democrats and Republicans, and the Republicans are kind of winding down. We pretty much know at this point that Trump is going to be the nominee. This was not the move. I respect it. But this only works if most of the nation, or a good part of the nation at least, from a judicial level, from a government level, go along with this and do the same thing. I understand that there's always got to be somebody to step off the porch first, but I don't think this was the move. And like I said, not because I think that they're wrong, but this is going to further fuel his campaigning. This is going to further make people who do believe all of the untrue things that Donald Trump has said believe that he is telling the truth. It's a bad look to me. Now, y'all sound off in the comments. I may be wrong, right? You may disagree, rather, with my opinion. But I just think the way, since you've let it, I'm going to say this, since you've spared the rod and spoiled the child for so long, to give a beating at this time, a spanking at this time, you might as well hang it up. You might as well hang it up. Because this is only going to make things worse and fuel the fire that is his campaign. That's the bottom line and flat out. Y'all should have been to this. Now, I could be wrong. Once again, I could be wrong. But I just don't think, at least at this time, this close, because, you know, we're less than a year away from electing the next president of the United States. If y'all look at the calendar, the next election is in November. I'm not sure of the exact date. I got to double check that. But we're less than a year away. This should have been taken care of a year or two ago. So by the time we got to primary season, we was already looking at the candidates and actually thought that they had a chance of winning. You know, somebody new was going to get the Republican nomination. You're doing this shit now. This is not it. This is not it at all. It's not the way to go. And so when you have things like this, it just further exacerbates, that's the word, sorry y'all. I just think, like I said, I respect it. I truly do. I truly respect it. But the timing of it couldn't be worse. It just couldn't be worse. And this is why, you know, I have anxiety when I'm even watching the news and shit. Like, I'm limited in myself now to 1 to 2 hours of news a day. I prefer to read most of my news. Y'all know I like to watch it, but I prefer to read most of my news now because it's just too much, right? Then they got this movie trailer out for this film called Civil War. I don't know if y'all seen it, but it's basically a film about the United States. It's not a historical piece, niece. If the United States actually, you know, after everything that's transpired now, if we broke out into a civil war today. And I'm sorry, I know that that's a film, but I'm not trying to watch that form of entertainment. It's just too close to home. But anyway, we'll see how the rest of this pans out. They may be taking it to the Supreme Court, which I can all but guarantee they will. And we'll see how it goes. Next order of business. Our good Judy Rudy. Okay. Now, Rudy Giuliani, okay, he got hit with a ticket. He got hit with a ticket. So he got sued, of course, in civil court by Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss, who are two election officials from Georgia who Giuliani slandered. He went in on them. He just was dragging them through the streets to the points where the ladies were scared to come out their houses and shit. They were scared to go certain places. They didn't want to give people their names and stuff. It was absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. Well, anyway, They got a bag. Now, of course, you know, he probably going to, you know, appeal it and all of that. But they got a bag. The ruling was for $148 million. Dollars. Okay? Dollars. Okay? So, the way that this, let's break this money down. These dollars. Okay? Ruby Freeman was awarded $16,171,000 for defamation and $20 million for emotional distress. Shay Moss, Freeman's daughter, was awarded $16,998,000 for defamation and $20 million for emotional distress. The jury also awarded $75 million in punitive damages to both patients. Now, here's the thing. I don't know if they're going to get all of that, but I know they're going to get something that's going to set them for life. Okay. They're definitely going to get something. Rudy is in a world of hot water. You know, he owes his lawyers money. You know, he owes those guys $7 million. I don't know where this money is coming from. I guess he thought the Donald was going to, you know, pay for everything. But as we learned over the years, the Donald don't even pay for his own shit. So I don't know, you know, where he thought this money was coming from. But you in hot water, okay? And he not only in hot water, but he can't keep his mouth shut. So here's the latest update, because I thought it was over with the lawsuit. Maybe we'll go through a few appeals or some shit like that. But they are actually suing him again. Okay? They're actually suing him again because he won't shut the hell up. So, Ruby, I called him Ruby and Rudy. Ruby is suing Rudy, again, asking a federal judge to permanently prohibit him from lying about them. Okay? The lawsuit comes as Giuliani has continued to make false statements about their work as absentee ballot counters in the 2020 election. Defendant Giuliani continues to spread the very same lies for which he has already been held liable, the new lawsuit says. Defendant Giuliani's statements, coupled with his refusal to agree to refrain from continuing to make such statements, make clear that he intends to persist in his campaign of targeted defamation and harassment. It must stop. I have several thoughts about this. I'll use one and share it. This is what happens when you are in power and you're formerly wealthy. You're a man. You're a man of a certain skin color. And you have been above the law for so long, helped change laws for so long, helped enact and create laws for so long, that you feel invincible. I don't like the way that the country is headed. And I just think that it's no way to stop. I think it's like watching a train that the brakes are just not working. The track is just not there. And this is where we're at. Unfortunately. It's sad. But I hope they get their bag though. You know, kudos to them. Good luck, girls. I wish you the best. Moving on. So, our final story of the day. Mother McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy. So, we all know the story of Kevin McCarthy, what has transpired, what has happened. Kevin McCarthy was ousted as the Senate Majority Leader and Speaker of the House. You know, and he been in the wings, you know, kind of like plotting his revenge. I think that he is going to be very crafty in doing that. So, Kevin McCarthy, this is coming from The Hill, Former Speaker Kevin McCarthy submitted his official resignation from Congress yesterday, which will be effective December 31st of this year. Okay. He states that it has been the honor of a lifetime to represent the great people and communities of Kern, San Luis, Obispo, Los Angeles, Tulare, Fresno, and Kings counties over the past 17 years, and especially my hometown of Bakersfield in the Central Valley of the great state of California. McCarthy said in a communication to the House, read by the House reading clerk. McCarthy, who made history as the first speaker to be formally removed from the post, announced his coming resignation earlier this month, just before California's deadline to file for re-election. He said he plans to stay involved in recruiting and mentoring candidates. With his official resignation, it is possible the already razor-thin House majority could shrink to 2 members in the coming months. So they will only have 2 in the majority, depending on, because you know George Santos got ousted. Depending on the timing of the other planned resignations and special elections, because people are retiring, they're over the shit. I think what you're seeing is a sea of classic Republicans say this shit is going a little bit too south. It's just too much, and I can't do it no more. Bye. Okay. Speaking to reporters last week, McCarthy referenced a quirk. And hold on, first off. So first they got to do a special election. Okay. So California Governor Gavin Newsom has to call for a special election within 14 days of when McCarthy officially departs his seat. The election would then take place between 126 and 140 days later. Okay, so let's count it 3, 6, 9, 12. So they got about 4 or 5 months, okay? Speaking to reporters last week, McCarthy referenced a quirk in California election law that could have allowed Newsom to keep the seat vacant rather than calling for a special election if he stayed in Congress into January. So, okay. In that hour-long conversation with reporters, McCarthy called his departure bittersweet, but did not rule out another job in public service. And he did rule out using his campaign war chest to boost primary challenges to the 8 House Republicans who ousted him, who voted to oust him. So here's the thing. You got to be careful who you make an enemy of. Because this is chess. And a good chess player may lose 1 round, but they ain't going to lose several. And what I think is getting ready to happen, first off, he could have held off until January, where they wouldn't have had to do the special election. There wouldn't be any issues there. And they could hold that seat. He didn't. Now, by him doing that, you're forcing an election. So what he's probably doing, he's probably going to go find a candidate, put all of his money behind that candidate, and he's going to get that candidate in that seat. And then, low-key, he's going to control that candidate. So he's getting a proxy. Or he could be saying, fuck it, and not do that. And now you have that seat up for grabs where it could potentially go to a Democrat. So that's another issue. Then, we talked about this. Kevin McCarthy knows how to raise money. The man knows how to get millions of dollars. He knows how to get those dollars behind campaigns. In fact, some of the House Republicans who voted him out actually got campaigning money from his fundraising efforts, bitch. Talk about biting the hand that feeds you. So what he getting ready to do, he can return this shit. He getting ready to, I think, because Mother McCarthy is a vindictive girl. He's getting ready to gag them. He is getting ready to find successors and challengers to those 8. Specifically those 8, he going to go after them. He going to get them. Mark my word. He not going to be able to get all of them, but he going to get, I think he really got his eye on Matt Gaetz. Because Matt Gaetz is a sleazeball. Like really, sleazeball. Okay? But he's getting ready to gag them. He's getting ready to get them. And some of these candidates, them flip-flopped and shit. It's too late now, niece. You talking about you want your own voice and all that? You ain't want your own voice. You went with Matt Gaetz, dumbass. And called yourself making a power move. That is not the tea. Sometimes you gotta... That man was the Speaker of the House, a 17-year Republican who was one of the chief, the chief fundraiser for Republican candidates in the Republican Party. You thought that what you did wasn't going to come with no consequences? And not to mention, he got friends in the Senate that's still in there? And you thought nothing was going to happen? You thought this shit was just going to go down with nothing? Now, that could have been cute and worked if the Senate had term limits and you didn't have to worry about seeing his good girlfriends in another 4 years or so. But that's not how Senate works, niece. And I'm sorry, Congress in general. That's not how it works. So now you're going to have to deal with that. Some of y'all will not be here next election term. That's just a fact. Now you done threw your career down the drain, made an enemy of one of the chief Republican fundraisers, and now you sitting at home watching TV with the rest of us. But that's our show. Take from that what you may. I'll be doing a year recap of some of the biggest stories that'll be coming up on the channel on December 30th, where we'll take a look and break down some of the biggest stories of the year and findings. I do hope that you all have a great holiday season. Thank you once again for all of the kind words and the comments for what I shared with you in our last meeting. It really means a lot. I appreciate all of you. My set is done. So the new set is done. We're going to be launching that in January. It's finished. It's complete. I hope y'all like it. For those of you who follow me on Facebook, and I'll share it on my Instagram stories at Dapper Damitis. You'll see that. So that is going to be officially launching next month in a couple weeks. And we have the TikTok that'll be launching at the same time, where we'll take secretary seconds, that's what I'm calling them, and putting them on TikTok so you can share that around with your friends and we can bring others into our community. I do want to thank y'all for your time. As always, it's always a pleasure. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever it is that you do, niece, just be happy. That's all. With that being said, I love you all. Have a great season, and I'll see you soon.